The mainstream crypto narrative is straightforward. Web3 is building a massive, unstoppable, decentralized cloud to replace the centralized giants. Enter Akash Network. Running on mainnet since 2020, it is the oldest and most functionally credible decentralized cloud marketplace operating today. But there is a massive gap between the marketing pitch of a global decentralized cloud and the underlying data of a highly specialized alpha stage operation. Today, we are stripping away the Web3 hype to evaluate the protocol's actual adoption metrics, the structural tokenomics, and the physical scale of the network. This split-screen scorecard highlights the contradiction at the heart of the project. On the left, you have the promise of an infinite global network. On the right, you see the actual data, an operation generating real money, but running on surprisingly little hardware. Looking at the revenue side, Akash brings in $3.15 million annually. That money comes from real customers paying for genuine compute power. But that entire revenue base relies on a physical network of roughly 69 active providers. For context, centralized cloud platforms operate millions of servers. Evaluating Akash means navigating the extreme tension between an undeniable product-market fit for cheap compute and an infrastructure base that is physically microscopic compared to the platforms it wants to replace. To understand how Akash operates, you have to look at its reverse auction model. Tenants submit a deployment order describing the computing power they need, and hardware providers bid on the job. The lowest qualifying bid wins the workload. This structure drives prices straight down. Tenants typically secure compute capacity for 50 to 85% less than they would pay at Amazon Web Services or Google Cloud. The catch is that Akash provides raw compute and nothing else. There are no managed databases or load balancers. You need deep expertise in Kubernetes, an open-source system for automating software deployment, just to get your applications running. On the supply side, the platform operates permissionlessly. Anyone with idle GPU or CPU capacity can theoretically connect their hardware and start earning, regardless of geographic location. But participating as a provider requires server-grade hardware, a highly reliable internet connection, and serious system administration skills. This technical barrier filters out casual participants. This steep operational requirement directly throttles network growth. It is the primary reason the active provider count hovers around just 69 operators and actually declined through 2025. Akash operates as a highly specialized raw infrastructure tool built for technical power users who prioritize cost and sovereignty over convenience. This brings us to the AKT token, where the tension between the network's commercial success and the asset's economic design becomes clear. The primary utility for holders is staking. You lock your AKT to secure the network, and in return, you earn a nominal yield of approximately 7.3%. However, the network has an 8% annual token inflation rate. On top of that, there is a 50% community pool tax, meaning half of all new emissions are diverted away from stakers to a community treasury. Look at this waterfall chart calculating the actual return. We start with the 7.3% nominal yield. But once we subtract the 8% inflation and the 50% tax block, the real yield drops below zero. You are effectively losing purchasing power just by holding. This negative individual yield sits in stark contrast to the network's macro success. The protocol is bringing in $3.15 million in verifiable annual revenue. This dual access chart illustrates the problem. A $3.15 million revenue bar is dwarfed by a $7 million emission bar. The revenue-to-emission ratio sits below 0.5. A burn mint mechanism is coded to burn tokens, but it's inactive, requiring revenue to scale tenfold to offset current dilution. While the Akash network possesses real, measurable economic demand, the AKT token currently functions as a dilution-heavy asset for its investors. Beyond the tokenomics, the protocol faces severe operational hurdles, starting with a massive planned infrastructure overhaul. The team plans to deprecate their current Cosmos-based chain and migrate the entire marketplace to a completely new blockchain by late 2026. Migrating an active cloud marketplace is highly disruptive. They are rebuilding the foundation from scratch, yet there is currently no published technical specification detailing how this migration will execute. This move was announced top-down by the founder, without a formal community governance vote, introducing the distinct risk of fracturing the provider base. The second major operational threat is the protocol's lack of a formal, third-party security audit. Despite operating production infrastructure and handling real customer deployments for over 5 years, the core protocol remains unreviewed by external security firms. Looking at this risk matrix, the chain migration is plotted in the top right as both high likelihood and high impact. The lack of a formal security audit sits in the top left. The likelihood of an exploit is unknown, but the impact would be catastrophic. Akash has maintained impressive uptime for half a decade, but that track record masks foundational vulnerabilities and operational uncertainties that could derail the platform before it scales. So, who should actually be interacting with this marketplace today? The ideal tenant is an AI developer who needs raw, permissionless GPU compute at a steep discount and has the technical skills to manage their own containers. If you are an enterprise engineering team relying on out-of-the-box managed cloud services and dedicated customer support, this platform is not built for you. The ideal provider is an infrastructure operator who already owns enterprise-grade servers and has the technical bandwidth to maintain reliable node architecture. As for the AKT token, the ideal investor is someone seeking exposure to a decentralized infrastructure project that has verifiable, paying customers. But as this decision matrix outlines, investors must explicitly accept the prerequisites. You are holding a structurally inflationary asset while the network navigates a highly uncertain 18-month chain migration. Akash is the undisputed leader in decentralized compute, but succeeding here means abandoning the mainstream hype of an AWS killer and embracing the raw, unpolished reality of the marketplace as it exists today.